It's Genesis or Genesisn't. I'm Eric Stephen Allen. With me is my good friend Joe Drilling.
Hello, Eric, and I'm sorry because I feel partially responsible for the game you're playing because you asked for a random number between like whatever the fuck it was, 1 and 750, and I gave you a number, and the number resulted in Warrior of Rome.
Or Ambition of Caesar, as it is known in Japan. As you can see, I have the Japanese box art, which is basically identical to the United States box art, except for the US box art doesn't have the Japanese characters, and it says Warrior of Rome instead of Ambition of Caesar. Um, Ambition of Caesar, in my opinion, is a superior title for a video game, but Warrior of
Yeah.
Rome just sounds very generic to me.
And also, we should mention this is not to be confused with, or conflated with, or substituted for Shadow of Rome, which I believe is actually like a pretty okay like game for the PS2.
Okay.
I think.
I don't. So as you can see, I have a cursor that I'm controlling with my D-pad. That is because this is a real-time strategy game. Which you're always treading on dangerous ground when you're playing real-time strategy games on consoles. I know that the Sega Genesis is famous for having one of the OG real-time RTS games in Herzog Zwei, but I've never really messed around with that, and real-time strategy games aren't really my jam. Like, I've played a bunch of Warcraft 3 and some StarCraft 2, and I put some time into Dawn of Discovery, which is one of the Anno games, like Anno 1900 or something. I can't
Yeah, I'm
remember
actually
exactly what
sad
it
that
is,
Mike
but
isn't here because I feel like Mike would have more to say about.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, real-time strategy games basically, like, they have roots going back to the 80s on like early computers and consoles and stuff, but there's like Herzog's Zwei is a game, like I said, I never really messed with too much. Let's try and get into this game a little bit. And then but like the genre doesn't really get traction until you see things like Dune 2, I think is considered like the
Right.
first like
So that
modern
was,
RTS, or like the Blizzard stuff, or the
but Dune 2 was on. I'm trying to remember if Dune 2 was on Genesis or just on Sega CD, but there is a Dune game on Genesis that is supposed to be a pretty competent strategy game, and one of them, Dune 2 Building of a Dynasty, aka Dune 2 Battle for Arrakis, or just Dune the Battle for Arrakis for the Mega Drive, is a real-time strategy Dune video game developed by Westwood Studios in 1992.
Yeah, Westwood and Blizzard sort of established what real-time strategy games would mean in the modern context. But this is, I don't know, I guess around that time, 1992, this would be around the time that those games are coming out. This is from a small Japanese developer called Micronet that put out a bunch of games like this. Joe, what was the game that you said that you owned by them that is hot trash?
I have a couple, yeah. Heavy Nova is the one that, which should not be confused with Heavy Barrel,
okay,
which is actually a fun game.
See, I'm in this battle screen. So you hold the C button, lets you scroll around the map. You can enter a screen that shows you like an overhead map. You can do a zoomed map. But like, I moved my guys out of my town, and now I'm fighting, and I'm not 100% sure. I guess the blue bar is my team, and the red bar is the bad guys' team, but I don't know if that translates to my units being the ground units or the mounted units. And also, like, this thing says start of battle screen in this manner, and I don't know what that means because the game's translation isn't very good.
Right, and just like looking at this, it's not very pleasant to look at. Like, we have to watch this battle animation every time two units clash.
I think I can skip it. See, I can go to map or to retreat, because this is all happening, as I said, this is an RTS game, so all this is happening in real time. So I can go to this map switch mode, which zooms out into this overhead thing, and so I think the red shields are the bad guys, and then these blue shields are my guys. But I'm not really sure what my win condition is. If I just have to, like, am I trying to defend something? Am I trying to just defeat all the units? I don't really know. And there's also, like, there's a number, it says 19. There's, like, these, I guess these are my unit health or something. I don't know. I mean, none of this stuff is surfaced in the game. Which in itself, I mean, back in, the late 80s and early 90s, it wasn't unheard of for a game to have things that were kind of inscrutable without the manual. But I feel like even if I had a manual, I wouldn't necessarily know what the hell was going on here.
I mean, let's put it this way. This is a strategy game for a console that's not from Westwood, as we briefly discussed. But like when you're talking about these kind of games, so first of all, like real time, they were super rare in this, for consoles especially, really. But it's not a Koei game, and it's not one of like the Sid Meier games. So like which I think were ported by Koei to consoles generally. Like it wasn't Liberty or Death and Pirates, I think, were both.
Liberty of Death is actually kind of dope. That's a Super Nintendo thing.
Yeah, I think there's a Genesis version as well. Too, yeah. But that's not a real. That's like a turn-based strategy.
Turn-based strategy or turn-based tactics stuff works great on consoles. Obviously, like Final Fantasy Tactics is one of my favorite games of all time, and we probably won't ever do Shining Force 2 for this because I've played through Shining Force 2, and that game is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. But it's just like real-time strategy. So I'm not a strategy guy really. Like anything more complicated than like Advance Wars, it's like that's just. At that point, I'm just like way out of my depth.
You can kind of take your time with those, and those are on the DS, so you have a stylus which gives you, which lets you move around. Like the interface is so much better with a stylus or a mouse. There's an Anno game that came out for the DS that I always wanted to play, and never really got around to, but it's supposed to be pretty darn good.
Yeah. So, Y Signal says this is intensely strange. Yeah, it's really weird. It's there's an infamous Famicom strategy game called Bokosuka Wars that's like one of the most infamous kusoge or shit games, if you will, on the Famicom. And just like a lot of games that tried this type of thing in the early sort of days, like pre-PlayStation, I guess I'm going to say, like pre-PlayStation N64 era, like really just kind of fall on their face, I feel, with the notable exceptions that we already kind of touched on, like Dune and that kind of thing. But
Herzog,
which again, we were kind of talking about this before we actually started broadcasting. But Herzog.
I'm also drinking tonight, which I have never done on this show. I don't think. I tried messing with this game for like 20 minutes or so before we started, and I couldn't figure it out. So.
Herzog, I would debate, like, even, I mean, it is, but like you really, I think if memory serves, and it's been a minute since I've played Herzog or anything, or Herzog 2, I should say, because Herzog is like a game for Japanese PCs, right? But Herzog 2, I think you only control you directly control one unit, and that's it. And like that unit can move around and like assist in building stuff and build bases and like direct units, but like basically you control one unit and you can kind of tell other units what to do.
Right.
But you control like this one ship, basically.
Yeah. I don't know. Have you ever messed around with any of the Dawn of War games? Or the more recent Company of Heroes stuff?
No. I remember some of you guys really liked Company of Heroes.
Some of that Relic stuff is actually pretty, like some of that stuff I feel like would translate better to consoles, because there isn't a lot of, like, it's mostly small groups surrounded around hero units. And there isn't a lot of base building or turtling or anything. There's not a lot of micromanagement. It's mostly just about, it's more like a Final Fantasy Tactics in real time than it is this. But see, like, I'm not even sure, like,
It's a real-time tactical RPG?
I mean, like, you actually find loot and you level them up, and like they become more powerful as you play. But I'm not really sure. Like I said, I don't even know what my win condition is, really. And I can't, it doesn't appear that I have the ability to make new units of any kind. And so I'm not sure if it makes it, I'm not even sure if it makes sense for me to have my units leave their bases. It seems like like it would make sense that I would have an advantage in those places and that I would want to leave them there. But if that's the case, then there's literally no point in me doing anything except for waiting for battles to take place. I don't really know. Like I said, I should have. I tried to find an instruction manual, but I couldn't find one online. So I really don't know what the point is. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this game isn't trash, but it seemed pretty fucking bad to me.
Well, this is a really early. This is when the like draconian publisher exclusivity shit was still in place with Nintendo. So Sega was taking basically like anything they could.
Right.
And Micronet it seems like a pretty small company, but they pushed out a whole bunch of stuff. And I actually watched a video not that long ago from
found the pause button, so I can I think I can even queue
good.
actions in the pause mode. So technically, this isn't even real-time strategy. This is
optionally real-time strategy.
This is a turn-based strategy game.
I watched a video from.
I love this little insert where this battle is just taking place. It's just like the horribly ugly sprites banging against each other. Let's do it in this manner. Okay. Oh wow! Look, I can have picture multiple battles taking place at once on screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
In this manner.
Waiting until a button is pressed. This unit is now engaged in battle. Okay, I can go check it out.
This company made a game about wrestling robots called RoboRest 2001 or 2001 in 1986 for the arcade.
Okay. And
a bunch of Japanese home computers. So that's a thing. But I watched a video recently from sort of friend of the site, Defunct Games, Cyril at Defunct Games, and it was about the Genesis initial lineup of publishers, because there was this ad in, I think it was a trade magazine, not in a regular consumer game magazine, but an ad in some magazine that was look at who's on board with Sega, and it was this list of all the third parties who were on board with Sega in 89, 90, when they first came out. And
I found the option to change my cursor speed, and now it moves so fast I can't follow it.
Whoops.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
So he goes down one by one through this whole list that was in this trade magazine of what happened to these developers, and I think 2 of them are still in business, and the rest are all have totally gone under. One of them is Namco, right? It's
is Namcot on that list?
Yeah, no, I think it was after they were no longer Namcot. They were Namco, which I always thought that was a soft T, and it was still just Namco, but I'm not
Probably.
Sure. But one of them was
that was also how one of the things that they used to get around Nintendo's weird licensing things. Anyways, yes, Micronet.
Yeah.
So this is an OG Mega Drive.
Well, actually, Namco themselves did not release any games in the U.S. for a long time because they had a falling out, and all the games that they had that were released in the U.S. went through Tengen because they actually were part owners of Tengen. So, but yeah, so Micronet. Not to be confused with several other developers. There was a sort of infamous shadow developer called Micronix from this same era who did the early Capcom ports on the NES, the really bad 1942 port, the really bad Ghosts and Goblins port. Hey man, holes are good. You can get some horses to fall in that hole, maybe.
I don't know.
But Micronet did a whole bunch of stuff. In the early days, it seems like they were partnered with Sega and did stuff in the arcade and that kind of thing. But later on, a lot of stuff for the Genesis, almost exclusively for the Genesis, and then later the Sega CD a little bit. But probably the thing that a lot of people might know them for best at this point would be a game called Curse, which is a scrolling shooter from '89. It was a super early Genesis game that didn't actually come out in the US, but there were screenshots of it in magazines because they were gonna release it in the US.
Right.
And it's kind of a mediocre shooter, but it blew away anything that the NES was doing in '89. So seeing screenshots of it in a magazine was oh my god, look at this thing. But it's kind of mediocre. But they also did they did this and the sequel to this, which I can't even imagine. what this game did to get a sequel. They did a weird sort of fighting game for the Sega CD called Black Hole Assault, which is actually, it might be a sequel to Heavy Nova, which is like, so I said that it's bad. I didn't really explain like what
Heavy
it
Nova
is.
is like a platformer and fighting game stuff, right? Something like it's a hybrid, like you do one thing and then the other thing.
Yeah, but I've never made it out of the fighting game parts because they're so bad. Because their controls are so clunky and you have to like press a button to turn around, and it's like it's real bad. And I think Black Hole Assault is like a faster paced, not as shitty version of that, but like still pretty shitty.
Joe, I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Dude,
my 8th unit was victorious.
That's good. I mean, that's good, right? It's got to be good.
I guess. I mean, I won, so that
Right.
can't be bad, I guess.
So they
Can I
also
send
did
these
a
guys
game.
over here to help.
I don't know, man. They also did a game called Third World War for the Sega CD.
Is that like the Third World War or a war that takes place in the Third World?
It's like no. Okay, let me put it this way: the Japanese box art is amazing. The
Okay.
Japanese box art is Bill Clinton shaking Saddam Hussein's hand.
And that's what leads to the Third World War, or
I don't
is that
know.
after the
I
Third
don't-
World War has taken place.
I don't know. That's the Japanese box art, though. The
They're
U.S.
destroying my
box art
base
is
because I
way
don't have any
different.
units there, but I don't know how to make. I guess I can't make units. I just have those few units, I guess.
I don't know, man. But I actually remember I had a friend who was really into. That's also like a real time strategy thing. I had a friend who was really into, who really liked that game, but he was also like just balls deep in like military strategy stuff in general. Like this was a friend who was also super into playing Axis and Allies and like stuff like that. So I think it might have just been like, I would wonder, going back to this game now 25 years later, if this game is like worth even a squirt of piss at this point. It's probably just as bad as what you're playing right now, but
This seems very bad. Like I said, I'm not an expert on real-time strategy games, but even like I played the demo for Halo Wars, which was a console real-time strategy game that seemed okay, and there was that weird Tom Clancy's End War thing that had voice chat stuff. And they're destroying my base. I think I'm gonna lose, but I don't know how to win. So
yeah. Well, I see a lot more red dots on your mini map than blue dots.
yeah, I
and
mean
that can't be good.
that's how it started though, and I won a couple of fights, but
This developer also did a Sega CD game called Revengers of Vengeance, which I always thought was a sequel to Brutal Paws of Fury because it has like a big fighting rhino on the cover, and then like it seems like it's like a fighting game-ish thing with like furries. I don't know. But it's not related to that, and it's like a weird hybrid. So that's another one. This one is the hybrid RPG fighting game thing. Where like,
like Legend of Legia for the PlayStation 1.
yeah, kind of like you walk around on an overworld, but then when you get into a fight, it turns into Street Fighter, like shitty Street Fighter.
Yeah, I mean, Legend of Legia was Legaia, probably Legaia.
Legaia,
right?
that was Legend of Legaia. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what that was. It was like, it was a really generic Xenogears.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But it seems like they didn't last much longer after that.
Okay. You know what?
they're-
I'm gonna stop playing this. I don't like this game. This is a bad
not
game.
a bad idea.
This game fucking sucks. Or
So
maybe
this
it
game
doesn't. I don't know.
benefits
I bet you there's somebody out there that loves this game, but I couldn't find any real reviews on it. But even amongst the diehard like weirdos that review stuff on GameFAQs and shit, this game has really low review scores. So
I wonder if it has a Metacritic page.
I don't think so. I couldn't find even. I was hoping to find like EGM reviews or whatever, and it didn't seem like it.
Actually, I
scored
should go
very
back to
high.
Moby. Moby Games like tracks that stuff relatively well.
So anyway, Warrior of Rome. It fucking sucks. But I mean, I've only been playing for like 19 minutes, so I thought maybe we could take a look at, say, this game called Squirrel King, which is a Chinese bootleg Mega Drive ripoff of Rescue Rangers 2 for the NES.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which is also relevant given that Capcom is putting out that NES collection of like Rescue Rangers. What is it called? The Disney Afternoon Collection? Which
Disney,
is like
the Disney Afternoon Collection.
Rescue Rangers 2, DuckTales 1 and 2, Darkwing Duck, and Tailspin, and that's like 5 pretty fucking good games for $20, and Tailspin, which is a fucking nightmare.
Tailspin is a tragedy.
Yeah, Tailspin is really bad, but the 2 Rescue Rangers games are really fun co-op games, and DuckTales 1 and 2 are both pretty dang good. Are both really good.
Darkwing Duck is a better Mega Man game than like Mega Man 5 or 6.
Probably. I would say it's better than 4, but not better than 5, maybe? I don't know.
So I think 5 is my least favorite of the like original Mega Man series. Like I think 5 is like the wonkiest, shittiest one of those. So I would say Darkwing Duck is definitely better than probably
I would
4
probably
or
rather
5.
play
6
it than
kind
4,
of
5,
rebounds
or 6, honestly. I'd probably rather play Darkwing Duck than any of those Mega Man games.
Yeah, so
I'm going to play as Dale, I guess, because that's who I always picked in Rescue Rangers.
Before you get too deep into this, also there's a thing, sorry, very quick aside before I blow your mind with this review I found of Warrior of Rome. There are people in the world who I guess just realized that Chip and Dale were supposed to look like Indiana Jones and Magnum P.I.
Oh, right, okay.
I
guess I didn't realize Magnum P.I. back in the day because that wasn't, I was too young to have that as a cultural reference. But I always knew that Dale was supposed to be...
No, Chip was supposed to be Indiana
Or Chip,
Jones.
yeah, sorry. Yeah. Dale's the red-nosed one.
Yep.
I don't know which one is which, but it's pretty obvious that one dude. Like, see that bee enemy is straight out of Rescue Rangers 2. And this first level is a lot like the first level of Rescue Rangers. And obviously, I'm playing as Chip and Dale, and I'm picking up boxes and throwing them. So,
why Signal says, "Oh wow, this is shameless level ripoff."
Right. Well, I mean, it is an unlicensed Chinese bootleg Rescue Rangers game. So
it is literally shameless.
Yeah.
So.
I do
Where
like.
Where did you find this? How did you find out this existed?
It's in that folder of Genesis ROMs I downloaded.
And you were just like, what is it called again?
Squirrel King.
Squirrel King. So they didn't realize that Chip and Dale are chipmunks, not squirrels.
Well, I mean, that's how, it's not a ripoff. It's Chip and Dale, they're not the Rescue Rangers, they're the Danger Squirrels or something. I don't know. But yeah, see, like, now I'm traversing power lines and there's electricity that I have to jump over. Like, this stuff is right out of the original Rescue Rangers.
This is a more blandly designed, like, Rescue
Oh yeah,
Rangers
it doesn't play as well as Rescue Rangers either. Although, actually, compared to the last bootleg game that we fucked around with, that Aladdin
2 or whatever,
the SNES Aladdin that was
Aladdin
ported
2,
to the
I thought
Genesis.
was called.
Yes,
Yeah.
Aladdin 2. This plays much better than that. And honestly, if there was a co-op mode in this, you could actually maybe have some fun with this. I don't know.
I don't know. But okay, let me dazzle you here.
Okay, I'm ready.
According to Ray's, which is a magazine. Oh, it's a British magazine.
Okay.
Okay, Ray's issue 9 from July of 1991 says the following. War games are always a bit of an oddity on the Mega Drive. For a machine that's aimed at the shoot-'em-up fanatic so much, it's a surprise to see any war games at all.
Okay.
Still, Shintaro Kanaoya's always moaning about the unoriginal Japanese game market, so war games must be a breath of fresh air for the little chap. And let's face it, oh my god.
What? I don't know. What are you
Sorry,
talking
no. Hang on. And I'm reading this is a review from 1991. This sentence is in the review. I'm reading this right from this magazine.
That's a hell of a sentence.
And let's face it, when the Japs put their mind to it, they come up with some of the most accurate war games around. Yeah, right. So like that's why I stopped reading, because I was like, he said Japs in 19. I mean, this is in the 90s. No, I think that's offensive. No matter where you were by 1991, you couldn't just like say
anything about them being Oriental in there.
No, I haven't gotten there yet. But okay, so just look at any Koei game for proof. The title of this says it all. You play the part of the Roman general Caesar. Caesar was an emperor, not a general, but whatever. who must
I
basically
mean, he was
survive
emperor and general. Like, you know, he wore a bunch of
He's
hats.
the commander-in-chief, sure, like a president of the United States, I
Oh,
guess.
fuck.
Who must basically survive all sorts of attacks from other kingdoms whilst trying to expand the Roman Empire into other territories. You have control of your armies right down to the garrison in each town. Most of the action takes place on a square grid from which you can move your forces around the countryside.
Okay.
When you bump into the opposing force, the action zooms in close for a man-to-man look at the conflict.
Yeah,
it's
very,
worth noting.
It's very
man-to-man. Yeah.
Well, no. What's the fucking? I can't think of the name of the series. There's a series where you roam around on an overworld, and then when you go.
Doesn't Fire Emblem do that?
Yeah,
doesn't,
Fire Emblem does that. But that's like more tactical. I'm thinking of the Might and Magic games.
Oh right.
Crusaders of Might and Magic.
It's worth noting that no control is had over individual aspects of your garrison, so you must sit back and watch as either your ill-prepared garrison gets well and truly trounced, or the opposition start to eat dirt as you overpower their weaker forces. There's a good range of difficulty levels, helping even beginners to get into the cut and thrust of military encounters with few headaches.
What?
Overall, the graphics are quite impressive for a war game, and the battle screens show particular finesse. A good introduction to wargaming, yet a tough challenge for experienced warriors, 79%.
Okay. Look, man, I'm not an experienced wargamer. Oh man, it's the water. It is literally the boss from fucking... This is a lot less interesting of a battle than the water rabbit battle in proper Rescue Rangers, but...
But this game is committed to ripping off.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh God, I still can't believe that they're just like they just went like not only that someone
man, China
wrote,
don't care. All right.
No, I'm talking about the magazine review I just read.
Oh.
That not only that whoever reviewed that game like
maybe
wrote
he genuinely
that,
liked it. I don't know.
But then no, I'm talking about the part where he says Japs.
Oh, okay.
Like not only that he wrote that, but that an editor wasn't like, "Whoa, dude! Like you can't."
Like I said, it's Britain. It's different.
I guess. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess like at WrestleMania 9, Hogan cuts a promo where he calls Yokozuna that, which is really uncomfortable.
Inaccurate and offensive.
Inaccurate and offensive, even if it was accurate.
Right. I mean, I guess his character.
I mean, they build him from Japan, right? They build him from Japan, but like,
right. Oh, man.
Yikes!
Leave me alone, Water Rabbit. Nobody likes you. So hey, I like this game a lot better than that other game I was playing. But yeah, like I said, maybe there's something to that, but I don't think so. I don't recommend it.
No, it didn't seem like. And I should mention that the other reviews that Moby Games had linked to were pretty bad.
Okay.
One of the most recent was from Sega 16 from a few years ago, and they gave it like a 2 out of 10. So
that sounds about right. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't. Maybe if I had an instrument, but the idea that guy said that there's some kind of tutorial that explains how to play the game does not seem accurate to my experience.
Well, you said that there are lower difficulty levels that are welcoming and don't
lower difficulty levels
don't provide headaches for.
Okay. Well, I didn't even see that option on the menu because I did check out the options and there was like a sound test and some other stuff, but I don't remember seeing a difficulty option. Although that could be one of those things that's hidden behind the poor translation as well. Like there's like when you go into that battle screen and ask you if you want to I can't even, what was the phrase now? I don't even remember now.
I don't even remember.
Stay here or something, the battle screen. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's been about a half an hour. I can try and beat the water rabbit, but so Warrior of Rome is that game. Genesis isn't very good. Squirrel King also Genesis isn't very good, but this is totally playable. Like I don't know if it has a 2-player mode or a co-op thing, but for a knockoff Rescue Rangers game, that seems totally cool. And also, there just aren't enough games that are like Rescue Rangers, so
that's true.
You know what I mean? There's
not enough games really took advantage of that. I can recommend a couple though, just off the top of my head.
Where you pick things up and throw things at guys.
Oh, I thought you just meant where you were small.
Oh, Yeah, that super dope map in Team Fortress 2.
Because I was gonna say there's Monster in My Pocket for the NES,
Yeah,
which
that
is a
game's
pretty
okay.
entertaining. Yeah, and you play as a little pocket-sized monster toy who runs around fucking up other pocket-sized monster toys, which is great.
There's all the Army Men games, which I know you have a deep
oh
affection
yeah. No, not especially, but yeah, I forgot about those. There's Toy Commander for the Dreamcast, which is not bad, and
Shit just
there's
I'm not gonna
Harley's
continue to
Humongous
see
Adventure for the Super NES, which
Oh,
is
right,
pretty solid. I like that the
be- I
chip
wonder if there's
analog, I guess, has a feather in his hat.
Yeah, he's a pimp chip. Pimp ass squirrel.
Why is there an elephant on the
maybe it's
garage door
an elephant is the bad guy instead of a cat, because you know how elephants feel about squirrels. They hate him.
Okay, I was
don't
gonna
know.
say I don't.
You don't know. Okay, that's it for this week. We'll be back with something different next week. Hopefully it's something that is comprehensible and also not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully.
Something
I'll try
more
to
like
do-
this
I'll
pimp
do what I
ass
can for you,
squirrel
man.
instead of a bad historical real-time strategy game. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.